She was going to have a heart surgery to repair the hole in her heart. When you first hear it, I was kind of in denial. Didn't want to believe that our first kid was going to have any issues. You want everything to be perfect. We did have to have the heart surgery, and I think I was in denial until the day that she had the surgery, that this was actually going to happen to our 8-month-old baby. Those last hugs before the procedure were very hard. You didn't want to let go, but the nurse came in and carried her out in that little tiny hospital gown that they had made for the little babies. And watching her walk down the hall with her was, we'll get through this. They fixed a hole in her heart, and she was there for maybe 48 hours total. And that's just unbelievable. It's something that used to be such a long procedure where they would cut their whole chest open and fix it. They slide a little, looks like a molly bolt in there and closes the heart up. Doctor comes back into the room, after 12 hours after the surgery, just to make sure everything took and everything stayed in place. That was probably almost scarier to make sure, because she had been screaming from waking up from being on the anesthesia, and she was hungry. So I was, the mom in me was like, I hope that she didn't cry, or, they just want to make sure that that device that they put in didn't come loose and that was almost just as scary, that moment when they had to take her down for an x-ray about 12 hours later to make sure it was still there. And it was, and that was like, oh, okay, now we made it for the first 12. Everything, because last thing we wanted to do is have a more complicated procedure, but everything was in there. Everything was where it was supposed to be, and still is. Other than that little tiny stitches area, we wouldn't have even known she went through it. She bounced back within a few days, and that was pretty amazing, because I know, before the research was done, this procedure, they would not have been bounced back in a couple days. She wouldn't have been a playful 8-month-old in a few days. She would have been healing from major operation. 1 year ago, remember we went to the doctor and they put all those things on you? What did you do?
I stood still and I looked at the TV when it was on, and I did not move at all, one single bit, not even my feet.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, that was her last checkup. So she's old enough to remember her last checkup, but that was a good one, because the doctors told us everything's good to go. The doctor said she's gonna live a long, healthy heart life, and that is fantastic to hear. A long, healthy heart life, where if she wouldn't have had this procedure, if the equipment wasn't developed to be able to catch it at such a young age, of a few hours old, if she was much older, she wouldn't have lived this. They say she wouldn't have lived into her teens if they wouldn't have caught this.
We hope that organizations like the American Heart Association can continue to fund critical things like that.
Without the research that the American Heart Association has done to make this procedure so much easier on the babies, we're forever thankful.